It's Jerry here with I Love RV Life, and Joan and I are at Fort Pulaski National Monument here in Savannah. It's the second day of January. It's 81 degrees. I know, eat your heart out. So we're going to take you a tour on this place. It's pretty awesome. Well, here's something you just don't do every day. You walk across the moat to get to work. So as we cross this thing coming into the fort and the giant earthworks. Well, this is quite a place. So here we go. Look at this thing. This is really something. And then this wraps around the whole entire fort. Amazing. So we're inside the fort, and we're going to kind of walk around and look at some of the rooms, just to kind of give you the scale and the size of this. Of course, you got to have a cannon. You can't go to a fort without a cannon. Lots of cannons. We're inside one of the guard rooms. I'm sure that wasn't the type of cover they had on the fireplace back then, but that was your only heat. Had two fireplaces, and the bunks and the walkways between them. Short people. And remnants of the different things that were here. I don't know what these are for. Oh, this is where they would poke the guns of anybody who tried to come through the door. They would give them a way to be able to shoot at them. Amazing. And that's how they opened and closed the drawbridge from inside the guard shack here. And it goes way down there in the bottom. I doubt we get to go down there. But there's a picture of the drawbridge works. So cool. Just kind of get an idea of what these rooms look like with a solid brick structure. It's all rounded. They won't quite let us in here. This one's behind glass, but this was the officers' mess or their dining area. This one too is behind glass. This actually shows the officers' quarters where they slept. And I bet these beds are shorter than 5 feet, if that's an actual copy of what these things look for.
But they are supposed to be more comfortable than the ones before.
Oh my goodness. Slept on those hard slabs of wood. Again, a lot of this stuff here is behind glass. I'll try to get the shadows away, but this is actually where they held church services back then. Small little chapel. Little hard benches. Apologize for the glare. So if you got sick or something bad, believe it or not, this is what they call their medical dispensary or hospital. Oh my Lord. Talk about how far we've come. You'll notice no x-ray machines. And hopefully we don't see any of the implements of the trade. Very small room. Yeah, now this is a little different. So I'll show you this. This is the commanding officer's quarters. I mentioned a Colonel Brown. One of the interesting things that you see here, and I'll try to get again out of this area, the commander got to actually bring his wife. I don't know if you can see it through the glare over there, but there's a spinning wheel, table. Notice the difference in the bed. This one actually has a headboard and so forth. Table, dining area. So this would have been the commanding officer's quarters. Substantially different here. This was the water supply. So they used what they call a cistern system here from the water runoff. And they pulled it out from that bottom there. Holy cow. And I can see from the sign over there, I don't know if you can make this out, it held 200,000 gallons. So this just kind of shows you where the common soldier lived. It's just a really basic open area, bunks, small little wooden stove, view to the outside. I guess this was also an area for protection. You can also see where they had cannons here. You slip among the cannons. That's all you had for circulation. Now it's pretty comfortable here today, 80 degrees and a nice breeze, but These Georgia summers of 100 plus and the humidity, I imagine, were unbearable here. You know, one of the things you see here, this was a fortification, and every one of these rooms had artillery pieces in it. I'm going to actually get closer to one here in just a minute, but just kind of give you the size and scope of what these monstrosities are. You can't see it for the shadow here, but there's a place over here we can actually get closer to one in a second. So here's an actual one of these cannons from this period. Now, just to kind of, I'm going to flip this around here, the size of this cannon, just to kind of put it up to scale. Let me buy it and just show you how huge this thing is. Just absolutely massive. And it had these about every, I don't know, maybe 20 feet. And you can actually see how these things pointed outside these windows, and they moved around on these tracks. There's still a little bit of metal in some of these where they rotated on these tracks. And then these things fired outside these windows. And you can see of the approaching troops. You want to talk about a bad day if you had to face that monstrosity. That is really something. Now this is quite amazing. This is the membership roll of the Confederates and the German volunteers who left Savannah aboard a steamer to come here and the 24th of January 1861 to man the fort. But the interesting thing here, I'm not going to read all these names, of just how few people manned this fort. We're on top of the fort now and kind of give you an aerial view of where we're at. There's the parade grounds where we just came from. And I'll walk over here and kind of give you a view of the river from that area. You can still see some of the old cannon placements. The fort was actually built on an island. It's called Cockspur Island. And you can actually see, I hope you can see, there's the river that it was protecting Savannah during that period. I don't know if you can see it, but way off in the distance, can you see that? There's a little lighthouse over there. You can't get to it. You can only get to it by boat. They have an information center, and here's some of the things that they have found here in the fort after the Civil War, and you can actually see some of the artillery pieces. That's a fused bomb, fused artillery piece. It's from a Parrott rifle. You can see the shot that was used from the cannons. Pretty cool. Here's some more of those rounds. And this is actual pictures from when the fort was shelled, and they were literally poking holes in these walls, and these walls are massive. Absolutely massive. You can see how thick they were from the people who were standing there. If you get a chance, you got to come to Fort Pulaski, one of the first forts to fall during the Confederate War, and the folks here are so nice. I just spoke with Ross Kaplan, one of the volunteers here, and he was nice enough to share some of the history here. Matter of fact, Joan's down there at the bottom waiting on me. I've been up here for about a half hour. But anyway, this is quite a place.